Well, hello there. Just pulling up my chair. How you doing? Tony Scott here on Smooth RB 105.7 in the studio into my radio show, Smooth Ride Home. It happens 2 to 7 weekdays, but we take a little time out late in the show to go on live on Facebook to talk about Tony's Tea, some entertainment stories that got my attention today, and a little more than we normally do on the air because we're here on Facebook and we have a little bit more time. And we also include your comments. So there's that. So I saw this. I don't know if I believe this or not because it's kind of unusual. But Janet Jackson and supposedly Michael's daughter Paris Jackson are allegedly beefing because one of them wants to pay for the funeral and doesn't want the other one to do so. The funeral of Joe Jackson, Janet's father, Paris's grandpa, Michael's dad, who died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 89 this week. And Paris wants to pay for it because she thinks that her and her grandfather got along great, and she thinks he's a legend and he should be treated as such. And Janet didn't have a great relationship with Joe Jackson. She still respected him. She paid tribute to him at a recent event. And she also says, supposedly Janet says that if Paris pays for the funeral, then we're going to look bad as a family. He had to have had insurance to pay for this funeral. Come on, man. I mean, there had to be insurance to pay for the funeral. And who would even have to know who pays for the funeral? You know? I mean, how important is that information to get? It's not that big a deal. And he had to have had insurance. I mean, come on. Keisha Cole's got a couple tax liens. The state of Georgia, it got her for 2013 and 2014 for a total of $34,000, $623.15. They say she refuses to pay for 2014. And she never paid for 2013. Pay taxes, man. They will come for you. They always do. I'm reading where Wendy Williams apparently can't wear high heels anymore because of her Graves' disease. She wears flats and sneakers because she gets unbalanced because of the Graves' disease. She's on medication. Doctors say it's going to be about a year before she gets to feeling any type of normal again. So thoughts and prayers to Wendy on that. And girl, you're 6'2". You don't worry about heels right now. Just get well. That's all. R. Kelly's ex-wife, Andrea Kelly, was on Inside Edition and says that he would tie her up as punishment. In fact, she says he tied her up. He hog-tied her one time because she forgot to call him daddy, is what she told Inside Edition.
You've been hog-tied?
Yes.
You were tied up?
Yes.
Physically tied up?
Tied up and left on the side of a bed, and he went to sleep.
Wow. Wow. Thanks to Inside Edition for the video clip. That's crazy. If that's to be believed. I don't have any reason not to believe her. I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing is crazy to me. But I'm glad she's out of it if she was a victim like that. That's horrible. Do you know what the electric slide is? Remember the electric slide, the song The Electric Slide? Not all the line dances that came after, but the song The Electric Slide. Do you know what that song's about? Well, apparently that song was written by Bunny Wailer. And he says he was surprised it took people as long as it's taken them to figure it out. But he says the song was written after a girlfriend told him that she didn't need him anymore because she had a toy and she nicknamed it the Electric Slide. Now, if you read the lyrics, it certainly sounds that way. But when you say something and then you follow up with something, you've already kind of strongly hinted this is what it's about. And if you read the lyrics now, it sounds like she's talking about a sex toy, but I just thought that was funny. That's crazy. Speaking of crazy, Khloe Kardashian is being dragged for piercing her daughter's ears. Her daughter is 2 months old, and social media has been dragging her to the musty part of hell. I mean, really been going after. She's a horrible mother. I hate her. All this kind of stuff like that. Now, there's no age limit. Legal age limit to pierce ears. Some people on Facebook says, I got my pierced when I was 2 weeks old. What's the problem? But some people like to drag a Kardashian whenever they can. That's the problem. Because Khloe can pierce her daughter's ears anytime she wants. Azealia Banks is insisting that Russell Crowe manhandled her. This story's been out for a long time, but now she's planning on suing him. She says that he manhandled her, he choked her, he called her the N-word at a party. And people at the party said that never happened. But she insisted it happened. And now she wants people to, she's got a GoFundMe page for people to contribute to pay for her lawyer. I imagine some people will contribute to that. I can't imagine it'll be relatively speaking, it'll be a lot of people, because why would you pay for something like that? You're a big time star. You got money. Pay for it yourself. The hell, I got my own problems, man. According to a celebrity dermatologist, big butts are out. No, no, I don't want it to be out. According to Dr. Harold Lancer, the fad of gigantic butt augmentation is on its way out. People wanting distortion of the rear end is in its last death throes. What is in is micro-needing to get rid of wrinkles around the cleavage line. Apparently, there's a problem there, ladies. I don't know. Earlobe fillers is also a big thing that's getting bigger, and bringing up the tip of the nose with Botox is the thing. So there you go. So if you got wrinkles around your cleavage, that apparently is a procedure that can be taken care of, and I don't know how much it would cost, but it would cost some money. Interesting how the whole trade thing with the president and how he's raising tariffs, and you might have heard that Harley-Davidson, the motorcycles that they build, that they send to Europe to sell, well, they're going to quit doing that. They're just going to go ahead and move that part of the operation to Europe. So the motorcycles they sell in Europe are going to be built in Europe. The Harley-Davidsons that are sold in the U.S. are going to be built in the U.S. And the CEO of Harley-Davidson allegedly called the president a moron. He says, our decision to move some of our operations is 100% based on President Trump's tariffs. Mr. Trump knows nothing about economics and even less about trade. The man is a moron. He goes on to say a little bit more, but I just thought that was kind of interesting because a lot of things are going to start happening that way. I think Toyota is going to have to raise the prices of some of their cars about $2,000. All the cars, their vehicles are going to get a price bump because of the tariff. But I know they say, and on average, at about $1,800 is what I'm reading. So there's that. And today, multiple people were shot at an Annapolis, Maryland newspaper, the Capital Gazette newspaper. There were reports that the person who allegedly did the shooting is in custody. 5 people reportedly have been killed. A lot of people have been hurt seriously. Some are in grave condition. So the number of fatalities may, in fact, go up. The paper promises to put an edition out in the morning, probably reporting about what happened to them today. One reporter was tweeting that he just felt sick. The fact that people were getting shot, and he was, everybody was hiding under their desk. He was on his desk, but hearing people get shot and then the gunman reload is something that he'll probably never forget. So our thoughts and prayers out there as well. So we got that. We got whatever you want to comment on. You're more than welcome to as we get into the interactive edition of Tony's Tea. So how you doing? Takira says that 2 months old is not too young to get your ears pierced. Okay. I know my oldest daughter got her ears pierced when she might have been a month, maybe younger than a month or a little older than a month. She was really young. My other 2 daughters got their ears pierced when they were much older, like teenagers and stuff like that, because we just wanted to let them make that decision. We don't need to make that for them. They want them, they can have them. So they waited until then to say something. So that's how that kind of worked out. So you did. Brenda says she pierced her baby's ears at 2 months. My mom pierced my sister's ears herself, because back then that's what you did, right? You would ice them down till they were numb, and then you would shove a stick pin, like a pin, like a sewing pin, right? And you get it really hot, and you'd shove it in there, and then you put like a piece of broom in there, a broom straw in there to hold it open for a couple of days, and boom, your ears were pierced. Remember those days? Does anybody remember those days? It was like that was a real thing. And Penny, that's what I thought. The baby's not gonna remember. Is that why you do it when the baby is so young? See, my understanding was that it does help fight some infections. I've also heard that if you really pay attention, the baby lets out a yell and cries, not even for maybe 30 seconds, and then they've moved on to something else because it doesn't hurt anymore. So there's that. But I don't think you drag anybody for calling them a bad parent just because they pierced their child's ears. But Kim got dragged for the same thing with her daughter North. So I'm wondering if she has pierced her daughter Chicago's ears yet. I don't know. It wasn't. No, you know what? It wasn't. It was like a stick pin. It wasn't a needle. Hell, we couldn't afford needles. We couldn't afford the process. That's why we did it at home. That's why my mom did it. My mom did it at home. But no, man, it's like, yeah, it was like. Let me get my glasses straight. It was like a, excuse me. It was a hot pen, some ice. You iced it down till it was numb. You got the pen. You kind of like marked the part where you wanted it, and then you stuck it in there, and then you followed up with like a piece of broom straw or something, and put it in there, and you left it in there for a couple of days, and that was that. From a broom, yeah, from a broom, Nikki, yeah. You don't remember? It was like, that was a thing. That was a thing, man. It was one of those things. So, now I don't have my ears, and I've never, I remember when my nephew got his ear pierced. I said, man, don't let Grandpa see that, man, because he will look at you until you're uncomfortable. Nikki, your mom used a sewing needle. Yeah, no, we didn't use a sewing needle. It was like a stick pin. Like when you buy a new shirt and those pins, those pins they use to hold the collars. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's what mom used. I don't remember. We couldn't spare the sewing needles, man. We have it like that. We have it like y'all, Nikki. we wasn't balling like y'all. We weren't balling out of control. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. The straw broom with the tips burned. Yeah, you didn't put it in there. You were sweeping the floor, then you stick it in an open hole in the ear. No. You had to burn the tips. Absolutely, to sterilize them, right? That's what you did. That's what you did back in the day. Yeah, that's what, what I've always been because piercings is such a big thing. Women, even guys get their nipples pierced, things like that. That just seems like that would like hurt a lot. Have you ever been around somebody and been there when someone got their nipple pierced or their tongue? It seems like the nose, that would like hurt too. My sister has that and my niece. It seems like that would hurt a lot. I don't know. I didn't pierce my ears because look how big my ears are. Do you think I want to draw attention to them with a diamond stud or something like that? My ears are huge. And as you get older, the older you get, in life, the two things that never stop growing are your nose and your ears. So by the time I'm 90, I'm going to be able to take flight. I mean, I'm going to have some big ears. I'm just saying. It's just one. I remember when I was a kid. And my mother she would do laundry, and there were clothes she was going to wash, and they were still kind of damp out of the washing machine because we didn't have a dryer, I don't think. And she would keep the clothes damp in the refrigerator because she was gonna iron them. I mean, it wasn't like a whole load of clothes. It was just like a couple shirts and stuff. And she'd keep them in there, they stay nice and damp. And then she'd make the starch. There wasn't no spray starch. It was just this pot she had. And she'd fill it with water, and then she'd put something in there. It was like a block that would turn into, it would melt in the water and boil into the water. And it was some kind of goop thing, and it was starch. Y'all didn't do that. Y'all didn't do. That was part of growing up, man. That was the deal. It was all that, man. When I was a kid, I had to. I mean, I think I started cutting the grass. I was still in a walker. I was walking around with a. I was really little when I started cutting grass. I was really small. And I remember I used to have to paint the garbage cans twice a summer because that was discipline. I had to prime them and paint them. I had to prime them with this burgundy primer and then paint them, silver and stuff. And yeah, I remember all that kind of stuff. Like Stay Flow Starch, Michelle, is backing me up. Yes. Michelle, you're funny. You're like, she goes on, I'm likely younger than you. No, you are younger than me, okay? But maybe we grew up closer to each other than we thought we did. But yeah, that was like the thing, man. 5-gallon bucket of starch to for the jeans and all. Yes, Homeda, how you doing? Yeah, man, the whole thing. It was life. That was life, man. That was a simpler time, right? That was just a simpler time back then. Brenda's talking about Joe Jackson, and yeah, Joe Jackson had to have burial insurance. Come on, man. He's 89 years old. He was a businessman. He had money. Yeah, he had insurance. He's taking care of business. So it's just people. I don't even know if I believe that story or not. But yeah. But yeah, that's I remember all that stuff from back in the day. We had clotheslines too. Yeah, because we had back then if you were lucky enough to get a washer, you had to be like stupid lucky to get a dryer. You couldn't get a washer and dryer at the same time. What are you, crazy? Who had that kind of money back then, right? So you got a washer and then you had a clothesline. That was your dryer. That was your dryer. So it wasn't a big deal to see like, shirts and sheets and towels, and you would see bras and granny panties and drawers and all that stuff on the people. Some people had like rows of they had like literally like clothes crops. They had like rows of clotheslines, and they would like, bigger the family, the more lines you had, right? And just clothes were just lined up drying, And don't let the weather change on you, because you'd be out there in the rain they were just about ready, then you weren't paying attention, and the rain would come, and you'd have to snatch them things off the line. Otherwise, you'd have to start all over again. Yeah, man, absolutely. And now, see, we never used the clotheslines as jump ropes. We didn't do that. So, but I could see that happening. Yeah, I could see that happening. How about when Mom went to the grocery store and came back with the barrel of potato chips? Right, with the little bags in there. Remember the barrel of Lay's. It was looked like a little paper barrel, and there'd just be a bunch of different chips in there and all that. See, now they put them in bags, right? But back then they put them in a barrel. Danielle says, "I got that Billy D. Williams hair." Thank you so much, Danielle. My oldest daughter says she used to say when she was a kid, "Dad, you have Bible hair." I was like, okay, well, if that's as close as I'm going to get to the Bible, well, then okay, fine. Yeah, I remember all that kind of stuff. Yeah, clotheslines. Yeah, there was nothing like freshly, clothes off the clothesline. They just smelled, because you think they get funky. See, we didn't have that. We didn't have that air pollution issue or anything like. It was just a breeze. It was a breeze, and that would dry the clothes, and it was nice. Brenda says, piercing the ears, it was a needle and a thread, and then you put the straw in. See, to me it was a stick pin, and the stick pin, I don't know if there was any thread. I think the stick pin went in, and then the straw went in with the burn ends and stuff, as I remember it. But, it only happened twice to my two sisters. It never happened, I didn't get my ears pierced. Well, if I'd have told my mom I want to get my ears pierced, she'd have smacked me. That just didn't happen. Boys didn't get their ears pierced back then. It didn't happen. Not around where I grew up. You just didn't have that. There'd be none of that. So, but now you got kids, get their ears pierced, and boys, and that's their thing. That's what they want to do. So, I only have one nephew. So I think, he doesn't even wear an earring anymore. No, he's one of the New York City accountants. He ain't got time to wear no earrings. Come on. He ain't here for all that. He grew out of it. And that's fine too, that's fine too. But when guys wearing earrings first started to become a thing, right? And you would see like a grown man with an earring, you would like look at him like, is he a troublemaker? Do you remember that? Do you remember? We would prejudge. Yeah, we prejudge. Yeah. Is he a troublemaker? And then when George Michael came out with the 2 earrings, right? One on each ear, we thought, whoa. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Because people are going to think you're gay. Well, George Michael was gay, but that wasn't why he had both of his ears pierced. And then that, later on that became a thing. It's accepted now that guys have more than one pierced. They have more than one ear pierced. It's one of those things. But back then when that first started becoming a thing, we look at guys and like, the hell? What in the hell's that about? That was back in the day though. That's how things happened. Is that people would kind of look at things, and we're kind of like that still now. Only now we have even less patience, because what we don't understand, we don't even want to fool with. We're just ready to label it, put it in a box, and put it under the bed. That's how we are now. So but back then it was a simpler time. So when somebody I'm not gonna say they got out of line, But when they just did something different, you just kind of like, it's kind of like when girls got pregnant in high school, and you'd hear when you got ready to tell somebody about it, you'd look both ways to see who was listening. And you go, you heard about Julia, right? She's in trouble. She's in trouble. That was the thing. She's in trouble. Yeah, man. You had the broom earrings. You're 45. You remember the broom earring thing. Okay, Danielle, see, there you go. There you go. Brenda says she hated the clothesline. But you did it, though, right? And the clothes did smell good. Now, why did you hate it, though? Because you're the one who had to put them up and take them down? That's probably why, huh? That's probably why you hated it. Yeah, it's one of those things. And, I used to do the garbage cans. I had to wash my dad's truck once a week. It was like, there were chores. Cut the grass. Yeah. Now, I didn't have to, we couldn't afford an edger. I just cut the grass, right? And we had trees, so I had to rake leaves and stuff like that. But I mean, but there was I didn't have to edge. Didn't have to do all that because we didn't have an edger. We couldn't afford an edger, Maria, you never liked the clothesline? Why didn't you like the clothesline, Maria? Is it because were you the one in charge of the clothesline? Did you have clothesline duty? Is that why you didn't like it? Or you just didn't like it, you didn't like you didn't like the whole process at all? Well, Danielle, here's the thing. You know what? It'd be nice to go back, but that ship sailed, man. And that's the part we have to, back in my day, well, good for you back in your day. Like what I've been talking about the last few minutes and stuff. It was a great time, but that's never going to happen again. We don't live in that world anymore, right? We don't. I mean, I remember when I got my first cell phone, it was in my car. It was mounted in the car. I couldn't take it out of the car. It was right there in the middle console. And I remember coming from the dealership after I got it put in, and I called a friend of mine, but I couldn't stay on the phone too long, right? Because it was expensive, right? And when cell phones became a thing, you only could get free calls after 7 o'clock at night. Remember that? You got the calls during the day were just too expensive. You couldn't call it, but I'll call you tonight. You'd call at night, and you'd be balling in your car on your phone, right? And it didn't cost anything after 7 o'clock at night. But that was a thing back then, right? You still have a clothesline in your backyard? You don't use it? Oh, girl, do an old school Friday, a throwback Friday. What do you call it? Flashback Friday. Throw some sheets up there tomorrow. see what happens. People look at you like you're crazy. There's a crazy ass woman out there putting sheets on a rope. What is that? Yeah, man. Oh man, south side of Fort Worth, you had sugar cane and pecans. Wow. See, I grew up on a beach, so it was a little different. But no, it was like, it was you could smell when people were barbecuing, and that smell. Now they got liquid smoke. You can make anything smell like you're barbecuing, right? It was one of those things. Your grandma had a phone in her Cadillac, and then we graduated, us younger people, we graduated to the two-way pager. Remember that? The two-way pager, so you could text. So the two-way pager was like a phone without the phone. You could just text on. That's all it was for. It was a two-way pager. It was about that big. Remember that? You had the little ones, but you had to have the big ones. If you were balling, you had the big ones. And then some dudes thought they were balling out of control. They'd have 2 or 3 of them. It's like, why? Why? Why would you have 2 or 3? Because those things were heavy. Remember the big brick phone? It was like you could get guns just lifting the phone up and down like that. I mean, it was a primitive time. I mean, when I was a teenager, look, let me tell you something. I was a teenager. I had an 8-track recorder. Remember the 8-tracks? You remember? Y'all remember the 8-track? I had an 8-track recorder where I could record an album onto an 8-track, right? So I could listen to Gratitude by Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff. I put it on an 8-track. Now the thing was, and the 8-track was interesting. I don't know why they called it an 8-track. It should have been called a 4-track because it only had like 4 tracks, right? So in the middle of a song, if it clicked over to the next track, it would just make a loud clack cloud right in the middle of a song. Clack clouds, remember that? I was like, what the hell, I had the Panasonic Dynamite one. Remember, you press the thing, the Dynamite, it would change to the next track. I had all that stuff, man. I mean, I wouldn't give it to them. I bought all that stuff, but it was like a long time ago. I don't think, Brenda, regarding Paris Jackson and Janet and Joe Jackson, if he does not have insurance, Paris needs to fall back. She needs to fall back because there are 9 children. You know, he had at least 9 children, right? And let them take care of it. And if they can't, between the 9 of them or more, how many kids he had, then she can step up. But you just can't like just bogart everybody and say, I'm going to pay for it. You can't. She needs to fall back, show some respect, in my opinion. I'm just saying. Yeah. Yep. Danielle says it used to rain in the backyard and it was dry in the front yard. Yeah. Those two-way pagers though, man. You were somebody when you had a two-way pager. Yeah. Yeah, the 8-track, the 4-track. Does the pagers mean that you're old, Maria? Nah. You just remember. We all went through all that kind of stuff like that. See, I remember when my cousins got a color TV. That was like a big deal. You know, Albert and Jolie got a color TV. Let's go check, and we're going to check it out. And it was like it was like this, and then like that, and then like that, and then like that, and then like that. That was a screen. It wasn't a square thing, and it wasn't round. It looked like a stop sign. That's how the screen was shaped, and it was color TV. But then you remember for a while they had this thing. If you had a black and white TV, you could buy this film that you would put over the TV, and it would magically turn into a color TV. Only people would be green, and there was nothing you could do about it, right? And then I remember my grandmother had the TV, the console, the floor console, because we had that too, but she had the floor console with the record player built in, right? And my grandfather used to like to watch TV. He would on purpose turn the people green because you could make adjustments with the colors and stuff. And he liked looking at green people on TV. I don't know. Never knew what that was about, but you know, okay. You like it, I love it, Grandpa. I don't know what to tell you. So that was back in the day. You know, the 8-track. You know, the 8-track, yeah. And then we moved from what, 8-tracks to cassettes, right? And cassettes were smaller, and there were just 2 sides. You had one side played, then you flip it over and play the other side, kind of like a record, right? Because the 8-track, it was like, you know, it was 4 tracks. And it would play until the track was over, and it switched to the next track. If it was the middle of the song, you'd hear that sound, clack, clack. You know, it was one of those things. It was, you know, and then from that we went to CDs, and now everything's, you know, a digital download. And what a lot of people never realize is that a CD, the quality CD is, you know, I thought that was always kind of funny because, you know, it eliminated the hisses and the pops and stuff. But then people started putting pops and hisses on the records on purpose. It was like, well, that's why we got the CD, so we didn't have to have that. Now, you put it on a CD, I put the CD in, I think I got a bad CD because it got pops and hisses on it. So I'm supposed to have pops and hisses on it. Shut up. It was life, man. It was life. It's what it was. It's what it was, you know. You had the swivel TV. Oh, Grandpa had a good job, huh? You had the swivel TV. Y'all were balling, man. I remember when my cousins got the Jackson 5 Christmas album. We went over there and listened to it. And we just sat there and like this. Oh, that was good. Play that one again, right? And it was, you know, you'd pick up the needle and put it, you know, the whole thing like that. Yeah. That was life, man. That was life. And the only thing we have from that left is the memories. We only have memories, which is a good thing, right? Well, I could sit down with my girls and tell them how it used to be, stuff like that. It's a great memory, and it's a great time telling my kids what that was about. You know, what we did and stuff like that. That was great. That was great. Yeah, I appreciate you, the trip down memory lane and laughing right now. But it was a good time. It was a great time. You know, it was good. It's what we did, right? And you know, we had the window unit air condition. And it only cooled like the front room and my parents' bedroom, right? And when I was like 15, my father built me a bedroom in the attic, right? And it was the attic, you know, so I couldn't stand up in it. I'm 6'2", so basically it was sleeping. But in the summertime, it got hot as hell. There was no air conditioning. I got a fan, right? But when I became an adult and had a child, my daughter, when she would spend the night at my parents' house, her grandparents had the same house, and sleep in the attic where I slept. Well, Grandpa put a window unit air conditioning in there. I was like, wait. When I was a kid, you didn't do that. He goes, you were my grandchild. I was like, what the hell? What is that? Yeah. Maria, you remember your dad's 8-track? Country and Western. You know, Saturdays. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Saturday nights on TV. What you had your Carol Burnett at 9:00, and then you had, there was like Bob Newhart, Mary Tyler Moore, all these shows. We sat as a family and watched, and we would just laugh. And yeah, we did it. We didn't have cable. Cable? What the hell is cable? We didn't get cable. Cable? What is that? No, man. Yeah. No, we didn't have the rabbit ears because my dad worked a double shift one weekend and went down to McCoy's and bought an antenna that you mount on the roof. Yeah, that's what he did. That's what he did. That's exactly what he did. He put an antenna on the roof, and he would like tell my mom, "Hey, Emma." He'd tell my mom, "Emma, is the picture better now?" He's moving around. Is it better now? She was like, "No, go back the other way." Okay, wait. Okay, go back a little bit. Okay, go back. Is it better now? That's what we did. And we were like little kids. We just be sitting there going, "What is he doing? What in the hell is Dad doing, man? What is that?" That was like what we did. Mannix, Carol Burnett. Yeah, I still watch Mannix. I got this thing I can watch. I've watched. Well, I can't get that. It was 8 seasons. I've watched 7. The eighth one won't come up. I have it on the Kodi. I love Mannix. Michelle's like, "I'm cracking up at your stupid ass." That was life. That was life. Yes, my father loved Gunsmoke. I watch Gunsmoke. You know, when I work on Saturdays, it's on the ISP channel in high definition for like 3 hours. And I'm working and stuff, but it's on and I can hear it and stuff. And I can hear Marshall Dillon. Let me tell you something. And Festus Matthew, it's like, it's a memory. It's a memory. It just makes me feel good. So that's what I do. So anyway, that's my boss right there who just showed up. So I got to go. But I had a great time talking to you. It's been, oh man, life was good. Life still is good. Life still is good. So, but those were great memories. So thank you for being part of my memory rant, right? So have a great rest of the evening. We're supposed to be 110 tomorrow, 103 tomorrow with the heat index in St. Louis, where my second daughter is. It's supposed to be 110 with the heat index tomorrow. So everybody stay hydrated, stay cool, stay inside, that kind of thing. But I will hopefully be able to catch up with you guys later. And I don't know why this just came up, but I'm going to close this. Computers are weird. All of a sudden, my contacts came open. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you later.